Hi guys, Russell here, and welcome to Magic Tracks Decoded Part 1.5. As I was wrapping up Episode 1, or Part 1, I realized that I didn't really close it with the whole purpose of that episode. The whole purpose was to demonstrate how to remove the completed tracks after assembly. And so I felt it would be quite wrong of me to just pass it by. So here we go. It's been curing overnight. It's all dry. I removed my upper structure so I can work on it. Now at this point, again, you, the audience, you might be saying to yourself, well, I'm not going to take my tracks off. Or some of you may say, hey, I like that idea. I like the whole idea of painting everything completely. Irregardless of that point, at this stage you really want to start looking for a few things that may be important to you. I know they're important to me. One is the integrity of the tracks. Even though you glued them, they're cured, there may be a few links that probably didn't get as much glue as the other. So, kind of check it out. Usually they're pretty noticeable, especially you're looking for where the tracks actually didn't snap together 100% completely. So at this stage, you just want to reinforce it. So if you're going to leave the tracks on and not take them off, this might be a good time to put a little bit of glue on. Also, if you're not going to take the tracks off, you might as well just start gluing them to the wheels, because they're very flexible. They're very flexible, so it would be a good point to take time to glue it. I will reinforce it after the tracks have been removed. Lastly, because I do a lot of competition model building, one thing I look for is at the idler wheel and over at the drive sprocket, I'm looking for gaps in the track link where the track link is curved or bending or arching. And sometimes it's usually more noticeable on larger tank tracks like the Joseph Stalin. There's going to be some gaps in the notches, and they do look pretty noticeable in the front or the back. So I usually take a little bit of putty, milliput putty, and I'll fill in those gaps using the water and brush method so that there's no sanding involved. Very quick fix. Lastly, you want to label, if you're going to take the tracks off, label them, because even though you have the right tracks to go with the tank, you have molded on, in effect, the track for that particular side. So the port side is set for the port side. It's probably not going to match very well on the starboard, or vice versa. So as I'm taking off this tape that I use, I'm going to hold on to it because I'm going to use it to label my tracks. We'll just put that off to the side. Alright, so now here we go. It's already flexible. You can see it's already lifting, so that's a good sign. The place where it's going to be probably really tough to pull out is the drive wheels where the teeth are locked in. So just be a little careful with that. And I think that's probably the best place to start. So I'm just going to give it a little pull, and you know what? Came right off. Not a big deal. So let's just do this. So I just kind of lifted it all off right there. And at this point it should just detach right from the rear. So I'm just going to lift it. And voila. And this is the magic. If I had the sponsons or the fenders were really tight, and if I tried to pull back, and that's happened before in some of my earlier models, I pull back and they get ripped because the sags aren't allowed to come up. And this just slides right out. So there you go, you got your tracks. And they're on. Voila, as they say in the French. Alright, so this is my port side. I'm going to label it as such. So Let's get the tape over here. I got my pencil. I'm going to write port. Not port wine, but the port side. Alright, and I'm just going to stick it on something like this. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something so that a mental marker. And so at this point, it's just take the time to look for reinforcements. What kind of glue? I mean, you can, at this point, I mean, you can use liquid cement, extra thin. They'll just, you know, boom, it'll just, capillary action will work for you and really get nice and stiff. But probably looks like the weak link is probably just here where in the rear where the idler wheel is, because there's a lot of pressure pushing down on it. So later on I'll just glue them. Lastly, at this point, this is a factor of time. How much time is it going to take Russell to paint his tank, paint his tracks, and then put both together and be done? If you guys know my channel, I'm a pretty slow builder as of late. So it's really important, if you're kind of like me, to make sure that you put your tracks in a safe place. I mean, right now I'm just going to go put them in the box, which is right next to me. There's nothing really in it. They're protected. No one's going to bother it. If you got like little storage containers, those work good. Anything that just keeps the tracks protected is a-okay. So they're just going to go right in the box. Now, if it does break between now and final installation, just glue it on. Not a big deal, because generally speaking, the mold or the shape that it's in is going to remain like that, unless, you know, it drops and it completely shatters. But all things being equal, that's probably not going to happen, because you're going to keep them protected in the box. And so now, I guess I'll just leave you with that. There's no point in doing the other side. I've demonstrated how it came off. So finally, this is the end of part 1.5 and the whole part of the broken track system method that I just talked about. I hope this was useful, and I hope you try it out sometime. And I'll see you again on the next episode on tank tracks, where I'm going to show you the other method of track removal, where you make a complete loop, it's all glued, and you pull the whole system out as one unit. And instead of pulling it from the rear, you're pulling it horizontally from the side, because usually sponsons and fenders are already attached and you have no other choice than to just pull it out that way. Alright, thanks guys, this is Russ Gosselin signing out. I'll see you again here on YouTube. Bye.